I'm going to keep my comments relatively brief. We have a lot of people who have very important things to say. It's important to say, though, that one of the messages we already heard this morning and what we will hear going forward is that we're not going to vote our way to liberation. We understand, as it's been put out already, that we are a colonized people, that we are the victims of a vicious, backward capitalist system, and that the only way that we're going to liberate ourselves is through struggle, eliminating this backward system. So why are we involved and why are we advocating that we should utilize, to the extent that we can, the enemy system? Well, quite simply, in that system, in this bourgeois electoral system, that's where we find our people. And as revolutionaries, we're quite clear. We go and we contest for our people wherever our people might be. So we're not going to take and have not taken the arrogant position that we know so much, we are so intelligent that we are not going to contest for the minds, for the consciousness of our people in these bourgeois spaces. We are going to be there. We are there. As Brother Charles Barron just shared with us, not only do we have our people to contend for, we have resources that belong to the people that are being stolen by the enemy. And therefore, part of what we need to be doing also is ensuring that those resources that we can use that belong to us are in fact effectively utilized for the masses of our people. This system is facing a crisis. It is a crisis of capitalism. And while we talk about the electoral process, we don't talk about this process as being a process that in any way reflects democracy and democratic practices. What we are attempting to try to build through this process that we are involved in is in fact real democracy. You can't have democracy and capitalism. They are inherently contradictory. This crisis of capitalism is also a crisis of bourgeois democracy. What does that mean? It means that even in these processes that they were defined as democratic, because of the crisis of the system, they are systematically jettisoning, eliminating those practices. That's why they are making it more difficult for people to participate. That's why they will take back what they have given people as a consequence of struggle. That's why they have eliminated the so-called the Voting Rights Act. They provided some degree of federal protection for Africans and others to participate in their bourgeois system. That's why they are systematically shrinking the area, the spaces for the dissemination of critical information and speech. Something that as liberals, they claim that that was a part of the definition of what it means to be in the US, what it means to be a Westerner. They have taken back those so-called human rights. So we have no illusions about what we're up against. And we should have no illusions about what we have to do. As we've been talking about this morning, is about power. And we say that the highest expression, as the chairman said already this morning, the highest expression of democracy is what? Self-determination. How do you have self-determination? You build power. So my friends, that is the task. We can have all of the skills that we need to participate in this electoral process, but if you're not politically, ideologically, and strategically clear, then all you will end up doing is perpetuating confusion. So the skill base of this school is important, but the conversations, the analysis that we are involved in today is even more important because they will shape and inform how we address, how we look at, and how we participate in the enemy's system. We understand that this notion or idea of democracy is something that's contested. That is why you find that the enemy right now, represented by Joe Biden, is engaged in all kinds of propaganda activity. For example, we all know that he brought together people in some so-called summit of democracies. We know that just a few months ago, he brought Africans from the continent for a summit of democracies. And last year, they brought together people for a summit of the Americas, all geared toward trying to ensure that the US is able to shape the conversation and shape the perceptions of what needs to be done. Well, we are here to undermine that and to create a narrative and an understanding of what needs to be done that will liberate our people here in this country, this region, and around the world. So my friends, let us come together today. Let us deepen our understanding of what needs to be done. Let us understand that we have to build power. And let's do what we need to do, which is building more effective organization in order to realize that power. I'll leave you with one last comment. We are proud members of this Black is Back coalition, that is the Black Alliance for Peace. With the Black is Back coalition, we just launched a very important campaign on Tuesday of this week, in which we are attempting to build a movement across this region that would deal with the issue of democracy, the issue of power, the issue of self-determination for African people and colonized people in this region. We are calling for a zone of peace, but we're not calling for a zone of peace in this region to the enemy. We are building structures of cooperation. We're concentrating our power to engage and struggle to win a zone of peace. And this zone of peace struggle we're involved in is informed by what we call the Black radical peace tradition. And what that means is this: it's not talking about some abstract notion of peace. The Black radical peace tradition says that in order for peace, we have to have justice. In order for justice, we have to struggle for it. And that we have to identify those structures, those oppressive structures and relationships that are responsible for perpetuating violence, state violence, and war. And we name what those structures are. We say that for peace, we have to defeat colonialism, neocolonialism, patriarchy, the colonial capitalist system. So we move from some abstract notion of peace to the strategic target of eliminating and defeating these structures of oppression. So my friends, follow this school, support this coalition, support all of the efforts that people are involved in trying to build an effective revolutionary movement here in this country. So I leave you with these comments, and we say again, Uhuru. We say also, no compromise, no retreat. We will win because history is on our side, and our peoples and our ancestors are with us, and we have a responsibility to, in fact, win. Uhuru.